Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you may be watching. Thank you so much for tuning in to round 3 of the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup. I am Tyler Newitt. I am filling in for your normal voice of the Mazda Cup, Sam Fitzpatrick. Don't you worry, he'll be back next week, but I'm joined by his usual partners in the broadcast booth. Andy Thompson will be with me on commentary, and Sam Kumo is running the cameras and all of the production to bring you the wonderful broadcast you're going to get to see here today. It's a bit of a change of pace this week after the first couple rounds at big, long drafting tracks with big straightaways, Watkins Glen and Road America. This time, we take it to a true iRacing rookie track for these iRacing rookie cars at Summit Point. They'll be running the full course, so there will still be an opportunity for the little MX-5s to stretch their legs. And you can bet that these drivers will absolutely be doing that. We are in the middle of qualifying right now. Currently topped by the two main championship protagonists, Caleb Hyde and Powell Shimanek. And Andy, why don't you bring us up to speed on what we've seen in the championship so far? You can see the standings on your screen right now. It's been pretty intense these first couple of rounds.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for joining us as well, Tyler. Obviously, filling in for Sam. Yeah, very interesting. First 2 rounds, so something completely different to the guys than normally. So we had 2 long tracks with wide circuits, really long straights, and now we're back into the realms of where the Mazda is normally at home with. So there's short, tight, twisty tracks of Summit Point. So the big thing of this track is obviously this the long straight down the start finish. So the start finish is going to be the biggest opportunity for overtaking for these guys, for the easy passes and the slipstream coming up to turn 1. But obviously what they need to be aware of is making sure they don't overbrake for turn 1, because if they do or try to go too deep into that corner can bite quite hard on the race. But no, overall, you know, you got 2 antagonists in the pros, which is Pavel Simonek and Caleb Hyde. Fortunately, Caleb Hyde in the last round, rounds 2 and 3, unfortunately had issues getting off the line. So unfortunately, he's falling behind a little bit from Pavel, but you will see those 2 racing toe-to-toe today, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure that Caleb won't make the same mistake as he did make in the last round, that's for sure.
Absolutely. You can see the qualifying order on your screen right now, just 2 minutes to go. And you bring up an excellent point about turn 1, Andy, and it really kind of highlights what this league has been all about. There's no margin for error. These races are short and sweet. And if you get out of that main pack, because it is going to be a pack, that's what we've seen every single time out with these MX-5s, you're out of luck. And with the championship so tight, it's going to take some good, consistent results. And it's Powell Shimanek who has absolutely been on top of those consistent results. He currently sits second, though, to Caleb Hyde, a couple of tenths off of him in qualifying so far. There's Tom McKell running with the team cars. You can see the colors there, all alike. McKell currently sits third, just half a tenth off of Shimanek. In AM, it's currently led by Parmalee, ahead of McMullen, who is your AM championship leader. But really, Andy, it's going to be about maximizing your consistency. I think is the key here. You know, you got to get in that reverse grid if you're in the pro class. It's going to be a 10-car reverse for the first race and an 11-car for the second race, and you need to be in it. And if you fall out of that lead pack, not only does it set you back for that race, you're not going to score many points, but it sets you back for the races to come.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see the top of the standing, Hyde and Simonek, the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship, really close together, with Manuel quite close behind. So I'm expecting a lot of racing where they're nose to tail on this going on the track. And what we've seen in the past is the drivers making slight mistakes, and that's where the biggest gains are made from the drivers. And you know, in the past couple of rounds, 2 and 3 have come into contact with each other, and therefore one's been able to get away. So they need to try and stay together and do the fighting within the realms of what they can do. But really looking forward to race 1. It's something different for the drivers, and yeah, we'll see what it brings.
And we are already gridding up for race number 1. There are your qualifying results on screen. Caleb Hides, your pole sitter for Drop Bear Motorsport. Powell Shimanek will start second. Those have been the top 2 all season. Tom McKell will start in 3rd, ahead of Felipe Senna. Pete Newman starts in 5th, ahead of Philippe Lauer. Rafael Franco starts 7th. Ronald Moons in 8th. Christian Schmitz in 9th. Then Dan Parmalee, the first of our AM class drivers, will line up 10th. Damian McMullen in 11th. Darren Doherty in 12th. Colin Sansom, 13th. Ismail Arafag in 14th. Andrew Brahma, 15th. Jay Walsh in 16th. Wade Proctor, 17th. Ivan Pinocchio, who was very late getting into the session, I don't believe he set a qualifying time. He will start 18th after winning the last 2 rounds last time out. And Paul Joseph Klist will round out the field in 19th. He also did not set a time.
I think those 2 had qualifying bans as well, Taylor, for them. That's why they didn't ban. So that's why they didn't set a time in the qualies.
Gotcha. Yep, good to know. So it'll be a long trek forward for Ivan Pinocchio, your winner last time around. Just waiting on a couple more cars to grid, and we will get those green lights.
Let's just wait for Sen now.
Yeah, there
he's
off. Loaded in. And very good point from Sam in the booth. Pinocchio and Kliss not making the start. So if they are running this race, they'll be starting from the pit lane. Lights are coming on. And they are away. Not a great start from McKell in 3rd. That's going to stack people up behind him. But it was a good getaway from both Hides and Shimanek.
Yeah, coming down to the long straight, they're gonna be aware of the cold tyres coming into this first corner and not try and brake too late, but try and get it. So Hides on the inside, Shimanek on the outside. Hides gets the first. Big hit at the back. Big hit at the back. Car number 281. That is Darren Doherty. One of our Irish contenders, getting out of shape coming down into turn 1, obviously, and causing a bit of an issue. And Arafat there coming off at the first corner, a bit of damage on the front of the car. He might have to come into the pits to make a repair, but they do get the 1 fast repair during each round. So hopefully, if he can get it back to the pits, he might still be in a chance of getting somewhere in this race.
Yeah, out front. Ooh, that was a nudge from Hides to Shimanek, and now that was one of the Luxembourg cars going around. That's McKell, who started in 3rd. He has had nothing go his way at the start of this race. It looked like Doherty, the black car who spun at the start of that, had some help and was out of control when he came back on in turn 1. Lucky, I think, that he only hit the 1 car of Arafat before coming to a stop. But the field continues on out front. Now Senna's had some trouble. He's dropped back a few places and is dropping back some more. So lots going on at the start of this race. Who is that around backwards? That is Senna. So clearly the continuation of an original incident. Oh, and he's made some contact with a couple of other drivers.
If we look there, his left rear tyre is locked up. So I think somebody must have hit him coming down that back straight, Tyler, and obviously caused damage to him, which locked up that wheel, so he wasn't able to continue, and obviously that's what caused that little bit of a pile up there, really. So yeah, some lot of action in the first lap of this race.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andy. And despite all of that going on, it's still the usual suspects up front. It's Shimanek from Hyde, and Newman, who's had an excellent start, has worked his way up to 3rd. Schmitz as well, up 5 places into 4th. So some strong starts from drivers further back in the top 5. There it is. It's basically a 3-car breakaway at the front at the moment. Shimanek, Hides, and Newman as they work their way through the back half of this Summit Point course through turns 8, 9, onto the back straight, and they'll head towards turn 10, the final corner on the track. Seems very similar, Andy, to what we've had so far. Cars running closely together. Not really easy for Shimanek to get away, even with those twisty bits on the back of the track. Once they get onto the straights here, there's nothing he can do to break the toe of Hides in behind.
No, because the setup of these cars are all fixed. It's down to drivers' skill and how they drive the tracks really, and that's obviously helping with all the close racing that we currently see. But you can see Hobbs there obviously giving a little bit of a nudge to Simonek just to let him know he's still there. But you know, these two out front again, starting to pull away slightly from Newman, and there's a big gap between third and fourth. Obviously, like we were saying before, one of the cars actually spun in the first lap, and that's what caused this getaway. And that's what we've been seeing the past couple of rounds, is that a car from like a higher place position, third or fourth, has an incident, obviously holds up the field, and the front two are able to get away. And we're seeing the same here again tonight, Tyler.
Absolutely. This time it was Mikel who we saw spin ahead of this chasing pack that caused the breakaway. There we see some side-by-side action. That was on board from Schmitz, looking back at Franco, trying to get around Lauer, and he has done so. So up into fifth goes Rafael Franco. He'll next work on Lauer's teammate Schmitz. There's a spin for Colin Sansom. That's not a very good place to be stopped.
It's another tyre issue, I think. Somebody hit in the tyre. So it seems to be this track is very, if you get hit in these rear quarter of these cars, it locks up the wheels, and unfortunately you have to come back to the pit. So at the moment we got 4 people in the pit lane. So a lot of incidences going on in these first couple of rounds. Obviously still another 10 and a half minutes to go of this race, and already 4 people in the pit. So it's been a war of attritions on these first couple of laps, Tyler.
Yeah, and the interesting thing too that this will kind of play out as the races progress is you're going to see some of the AM class drivers benefiting from that reverse grid. At the moment, Walsh in 10th would be on pole for next race, and 3 of the AM class drivers would be separated from the rest of their grid. That could really shake up the championship if you see some of the AM drivers able to hold on to those higher positions. It could really help them as the championship goes on to kind of lock in a couple of really good finishes. Oh, that's more trouble for Schmitz. I'd seen his mirror was dangling, so he'd obviously had some contact with somebody. Now he's had a bit more of a spin. That's dropped him from, I believe, 4th all the way back to 12th.
Seems to be that corner, Tyler. A lot of cars getting caught out by that corner. That is obviously the one down the back straight where you've got a kink, a right kink beforehand, and then there's a sharp left, as we can see here. So he's coming. There we go. Oh,
there is the replay.
So cars obviously trying to jump up the inside of the cars, and they're trying to almost yeet up the inside. That was a very ambitious move there, and obviously that caused the issue to Smith to spin around, and that was Franco there trying to squeeze into a place up the inside that wasn't really there, to be fair.
No, it wasn't. We had seen Franco get by Schmidt's teammate Lauer and just tried to make that move. As you mentioned, it's a good assessment of the track, because it is that turn 4 kink that leads into that sharp left-hander of turn 5. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure exactly where these MX-5s start braking, but I'd imagine it's not long after you head through turn 4 here. And that makes it really tricky to set up a pass, but the problem is, outside of turn 1, turn 5 is probably the best overtaking zone on the track if you can set it up correctly. So you're going to see drivers making moves like we just saw from Franco, who has recovered a bit. He's currently up in 8th behind a couple of the AM class driver, the 2 AM leaders, in fact, Parmalee and McMullen. So Franco trying to recover from that incident, but you know, it's tough to make a pass happen there, but there are so few opportunities around this track. You have to take advantage when you can.
Yeah, for sure. This corner here is a classic one. It's making sure you get that corner right, so you get the maximum lead. Oh, big fight for the lead. Going down into turn 1. Simonek obviously taking the inside line from Hides, but Hides trying to get back, so he's all over the back of him, is Hides. He's going to try for the inside line. It's probably best to tuck in behind him, but I don't think Caleb is going to do that. He's going to try and go for the first place. He's going on the inside. He should get it done. Oh, he's going to... great racing from the two of them, side-by-side action going down turn 4 into the treacherous turn 5. So let's hopefully they can keep it clean going through there. But obviously we've got Newman as well in the mix. So these two are fighting. They need to be aware of Newman, and he could actually sneak through and take them both if they're not really careful about what they're doing, because obviously they're looking out for each other. They know they're the top 2 in the championships, and Newman could be just biding his time, hoping that the two of them have some sort of incident and he can grab first place. So yeah, really interesting race, toe to toe, bumper to bumper racing all the way from first to third here, Tyler.
Well called, and you're absolutely right, Andy. Fabulous racing, and Pete Newman, I think, is licking his chops here. But before long, we're going to be looking at the end of this race, and he's got to get through at some point. But for the time being, I think he's just enjoying the two in front of him battling, maybe hoping for a little coming together where he can pick up the pieces. He's got a big run now on Hides. He looks to the outside. I think they're going to be 3 wide into turn 1. I thought Newman might back out of it, but instead he sends it deep on the brakes. If he can maintain that position around the outside through turn 2, he's going to be set up well for turn 3. And it looks like he has. So he's got the inside line for turn 3 on Newman, and he's even got the overlap a little bit on Shimanek, forcing him to miss the apex just a tad there. Ooh, a little hip check. That sends Hides through the gravel. Obviously not too much of an issue in these little MX-5s. They can handle the off-tracks pretty well, assuming you don't rack up too many and find yourself looking at a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, these cars are great. Obviously, if you've ever driven in the GT3 cars and you come off track, you're pretty much going to hit the wall or spin. But these cars are really controllable when you get off track. You know, they're rear-wheel driven cars, so they grip really well, and you can actually sometimes, and you've seen it, make it to your advantage sometimes going off some of the tracks to try and get these extra speeds. But these cars are great fun to watch, and obviously they're a bit forgiving when you do actually come off the grass and go into the outside areas of the track. But now great racing here, the 3 of them. Caleb was a bit boxed in after the first turn on that last lap, so obviously Newman had him covered up, and Hides basically just had to stay behind Simonek. But great move from Newman there after the first corner to get on the outside, on the inside of Hides, and he almost took Simonek as well, but obviously he just went into that corner a little bit too slow, obviously being on the inside line. But Ivan Pinocchio doing a great run here. Obviously started off in the pits because he had a pit lane start. Big rear end there from Marquel going into turn 1 there. So that's a way to stop the car, I think.
Yeah, I think that was Walsh who got there into the back of Pinocchio.
Oh, yes, it was.
And that was an exchange of 9th and 10th. This is the battle for the pole in race number 2. That is Tom McKell, who's trying to insert himself into that battle, but at the moment he's just watching Pinocchio and Walsh going at it. He might end up inheriting that pole for race number 2 if these two aren't a little more careful, because there was definitely a nudge into turn 1. Speaking of turn 1, we saw, I think for the first time in this race, some attempt at breaking that draft from Shimanek. Came right to the inside line off of the final corner ahead of Newman and Hides, and did a little bit of wiggling down the front straight just to try and break that toe a little bit. There you see it again. So clearly establishing that draft breaking line, obviously a defensive line as well if you maintain the inside there into turn number 1. Tough to make something happen around the outside, though we have seen Newman do it already on Hides, and he tries it late on the brakes around Shimanek, but those tires just not quite holding on. And it looks like Shimanek will be able to maintain clearance as they head towards turn number 3.
Yeah, it's definitely that inside line going into the first corner. If you're trying to defend, is the line you want to be taking. But great, it could be a great pass here. Newman took it on the inside, so he should have the inside now. Oh no, he's just behind, so Simonek's got in front of him again for turn 4 and 5. But certainly, like you say, this is an ideal place, so I think Newman's going to go up the inside of him. Yes, he's going to try it. Simonek is... Yeah, is he going to have the inside line for the next corner? Oh, wheel to wheel, side by side racing here. Great to watch between Simonek and Newman. And Hides again is just on the fringes of them, just waiting patiently to see if his optimistic moves can come through and try and take this first place again. So positions are changing lap by lap, and obviously side by side action going through all corners, Tyler. It's great to watch.
Absolutely fabulous, and Newman doing an exemplary job of showing how to cleanly attempt an overtake into turn number 5, which perhaps some of the other drivers here today might need a little help with. But he set up that pass expertly, and unfortunately, Šimenek just seems to be a little bit quicker through there right now. Newman not able to complete the pass, but he's got a bit of an overlap here as they head into turn 1. Sticks it around the outside. That's a good late braking maneuver. Nearly ran wide there, but he will have the inside line once again for turn number 3, and maybe a bit more room. Oh, but look at Hides looking to the inside. He thought about making it 3 wide into turn 3. I'm not sure that would have worked out well for anybody.
No, great passive move there from Newman. Oh, but Šimenek's fighting back. It's changing every second of who is between Šimenek and Newman. So really good, close racing, and really clean as well, Tyler. Got to commend the guys on that. They're going close into these corners. They're giving each other the room, but obviously making it really competitive. And Hides could actually sneak through into second place here. He's coming on the inside. So he's got the inside corner for this one, but unfortunately he'll have the outside corner. But he nips in front of Newman, so High's back into second place and back on Šimenek's tail. So Šimenek's doing a really good defensive job here, taking the inside line into turn 1 to obviously close off that inside gap run up to turn 1, and then he's positioning his car perfectly. That he's getting, if he is alongside the car, Tyler, he's got the option and the benefit of the next caller.
Absolutely, as we see the white flag waving there for Šimenek. You hit the nail on the head there, Andy. He is perfectly positioning this car just to maintain this lead, and there's no harder car, I think, to drive defensively in than the MX-5, one of these slower rookie level machines, because the toe is so powerful and the cars are so evenly matched, especially on a fixed setup, that really you almost feel as the leader like a sitting duck. But clearly Šimenek is not a sitting duck. He knows exactly what he's doing and has done an expert job up till this point. As they head into turn 4 and then turn 5 on this final lap, it is still Šimenek from Hides. Newman had a look out of turn number 1, but wasn't able to complete it on Hides. So it's currently those two looking to seal the deal here in race number 1. I don't think Newman's going to have much of an opportunity unless something happens to Šimenek and Hides at this point. They head around turn number 9. Onto the straight that leads to turn 10, the final corner. It is still a clear lead for Šimenek. Is Hides going to be able to do anything with the draft? We'll have to wait and see. He's playing a bit defensive for Newman at the moment, which doesn't bode well for the run of the checkers. And indeed, as they head side by side for second to the line, it was Šimenek who completes race number 1 in the winner's circle. A little further back, Parmalee is going to be your AM class winner, so excellent job to him. Not sure what happened to McMullen, because at one point those two were right together. Instead, there are now 3 drivers in between them, Franco, Pinocchio, and Mikel. But the good news for McMullen is he's going to be starting up front in race number 2.
Yeah, for sure. I think there must have been an incident, because obviously Pinocchio was fighting in 9th and 10th, and he ended up in 8th place there. So there certainly seems to be an incident that happened during that race, which obviously promoted him up to 8th. But as you said there, Mullins now obviously in the prime position. He is leading the AM chance. Dan Parmalee would have closed the gap then because he came 6th. So great points for Dan in there for the AM championships. But now I think he's on the front. McMullen's on pole position. He needs to consolidate this and ensure that he gets this race win to make sure he stays out front, because the race championship for the AMs is too close to call, really, and any lost places is going to put people down and up into the order.
Absolutely, and we are about to launch into race number 2, but while we are waiting, just want to mention, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, the broadcast overlays, the track maps, anything like that on your screen, it's all made possible by SDK Gaming. It lets you add a virtual live HUD to iRacing. You can show timing towers like that one with your race 1 results on screen, relative timing boxes. Not only can you work with it for broadcasts, but you can do it for streaming as well. It adds a ton to any stream of iRacing that you might be looking at. It's the best overlay on the market. So check out SDK Gaming if you're interested in adding these overlays to your screen. Powell Šimenek, your race 1 winner. Caleb Hides in 2nd. Pete Newman, Philip Lauer, Ronald Moons, your top 5. Dan Parmalee, your AM class winner. Rafael Franco, Ivan Pinocchio, Tom McKell and your race 2 pole sitter, Damian McMullen. That's all we have time for as the grid is set. We're going to get the lights coming on here for race number 2 in just a moment. There they are. McMullen sits at the head of this field. Oh, I see a couple of jump starts in the back. Now the lights go out. I'm not sure who it was in the back who jumped the start, but there's going to be a couple drivers having to serve drive-through penalties. There's cars already on the grass as they head down into turn 1. I believe that's Franco looking around the outside 3 wide of Pinocchio and McKell.
Yeah, Franco, great. Going into the
he did
first
well to hang on to it there. Sorry, Andy. Yeah, he did a great job holding on to that car and continues on in 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely. He was obviously got a really good start there, and he had to go out onto the grass to try and take the cars. They were 3 wide coming down that first straight, but he paid it to his advantage. Like I was saying, sometimes you can get advantage by going on the grass, and he certainly got that. So he's actually up to 3rd place now. Great start from Mullins. He got out front and he's sticking out front. Well, one person I was thinking about watching for this race was Pinocchio. I mean, he's
sorry,
now in
Andy. We got a car wide, a couple cars wide. Ronald Moon, Brahma, I believe. We've got Arafat, Sansom, Senna, a number of cars involved in all that. The first car I saw go off was Ronald Moon's, and I think everything else happened behind him. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Andy, but suddenly everything happening at turn 5. We mentioned it's a hot spot in race number 1 and proving so again in race number 2.
We need to rename that corner Mazda corner. There seems to be quite a few Mazda cars coming off there. But one other post I was going to say about watching is this guy, Ivan Pinocchio. He's a very aggressive driver. Will take them inside lines. You give him an inch and he will take it. And as we can see here, I think he started in 8th in this race. He's now up to 1st place, and his main rivals are further down, so they've got to get through the field first. So this is a really good opportunity again for Ivan to start pulling away and getting a gap over his rivals in the Pro Championship. But we've got Franco now in 2nd. Mullins dropping down the order. He's currently in 4th place. Philip Lauer in 5th. Parmalee, so the 2nd. Oh, something happened to Parmalee there. He lost 2 places.
That's Shimanek getting into Lauer, and Lauer is off hard into the wall, or the berm as it was. Looks as though he might be able to continue here, but that was that was 3 cars going into a place where really you should probably only have 1 car, and Lauer got on the worst end of it. Pinocchio, as you mentioned, up 2 spots from his starting position. And that's the benefit of the reverse grid. You know, it's kind of a double-edged sword with Pinocchio starting from the pit lane from his penalty. If he wasn't able to get into the reverse grid, he would have been hurting in race number 2 and potentially race number 3 as well. But because he was able to work his way up into a reverse grid position, he's in very good shape here. We see Hydes running through the pit lane. Now, is Hydes one of the cars who jumped the start, or does he have damage? Oh, he's got damage. Yep.
Not again. He's I was noticing dropping down the order. He was in 9th place and going down, and I was thinking he's had a bad start here. But God, action-packed racing going around turn number 1, which is obviously a really good passing place. But you got in 2 cars wide going into turn 2 now. Let's see how they get through here. Simonek in 4th. He's made a great gain as Simonek. He is up 6 places from the start of the grid on the 2nd lap, I believe, or 3rd lap now. So he's making great starts and obviously trying to track down the drivers in front of him.
Yeah, 2 of the main protagonists right in that one, Newman and Shimanek. Both have worked their way forward well. Obviously, Hydes has not. He's down in 15th place, but Shimanek and Newman both up into 4th and 5th, and they'll look to set their sights on Pinocchio, Franco, and McKell, who currently sit in the podium positions of this race. We're looking now at Ronald Moons after his excursion off track on the first lap, recovered up to 9th place. He's got a few AM-class cars in front of him, including Walsh. Parmalee and McMullen you can see up there in the battle for the AM-class lead. That looks like that might go down to the wire here just 4 minutes into race number 1. Moons ducks to the inside. Should be easy doing into turn number 1 with the line advantage to Moons. And not sure Walsh will fight him too hard. He's more focused, I believe, on the AM-class drivers he's racing, including Kliss right in there behind him.
Yeah, so obviously the reverse grid for race number 3 is 11 positions. So at the moment, Doherty is currently sat in that position. So the thing that hides, unfortunately, again, seems to have an incident on the lap like he did in the last round. What he needs to focus on now is trying to get into that 11th place position, because that's where he's going to need to try and get up. If he stays where he currently is, he'll have a terrible start again to round 3, and he'll have to make his way up through the fields, because what he doesn't want to do is let Simonek get further away, because as we see at the moment, he's currently sat in 4th place and Hides is in 15th place. So he's got some ground to make up. Really good driver, and I think it'd be good to see if we could find out what happened to him, but at the moment he doesn't seem to be having much luck in these rounds, Tyler.
Yeah, and it's definitely not impossible for Hides to get back up into the reverse grid position. We know he's quick around here for sure, and he took that fast repair, so the car should be good as new. In fact, it is. There we can see him on screen working on Arafag, trying to get one more spot towards that reverse grid position. That'll be 14th on track, and looks like Arafag is defending to the inside, but I think Hides will have the overlap here into the final corner. Battle for the lead, though. Franco and Pinocchio going at it. Franco trying around the outside. Ooh, little nudge there. Little hip check from Pinocchio. And that has set Franco back. He's lost his momentum. Mikel and Simonek both going to go through there as they head into turn 3. Simonek set the fastest lap of the race on that previous lap, so he is on a tear looking to replicate his race 1 performance, I think.
Yeah, so as we can see here, not like the first race, we haven't got a breakaway. We've got 5 cars in this leading pack now. So we've got Pinocchio, Manquel, Simonek, Franco and Newman all in the top 5, all within close proximity of each other. And you've just seen how quickly and how easy people can go from 2nd place down to 4th, down to 5th. So, you make one little mistake on these tracks and the other guys capitalize on them mistakes, and you find yourself going down the order quite well and quite quickly in these races, certainly in this short format, Tyler.
You are absolutely right there, yeah. As we see Franco, who a lap ago was battling for the lead heading into turn number 1, he's under fire from Pete Newman, and looks like he's going to lose that 4th position as well and slip back to the back end of the top 5. Not a good lap at all from Franco. Simonek is going by Mikel here for 2nd place. It seems like only a matter of time before he's attacking Pinocchio for that race lead.
Yeah, these two had their battles in Road America. If you watched that, as you'll notice, on both the 2nd and 3rd races, really close. I think the 2nd race ended with Pinocchio winning by 7/1000ths of a second in that race. So these two have got history in 1st and 2nd place, going at it nose to tail. So I expect to see some fireworks coming in the open in these next couple of rounds. But never rule out Manquel or Newman or Franco. They're all in a big train at the moment, so they're all going to be getting that slipstream, and unfortunately Pinocchio being at the front won't have any slipstream going down the start-finish straight, so he's got to be thinking defensively going down there, like we saw from Simonek in round 1, trying to get clear, take that inside line.
Yeah, we certainly saw Simonek was able to hang on to that lead in turn number 1, something that was pretty difficult in the first couple of rounds this season. The draft obviously has a big effect as we see Newman moving into 3rd place. He's following Simonek on their fight up through the field. Pretty defensive here from Pinocchio. Still fairly early in this race. In fact, we've just crossed the halfway point. So Simonek not needing to force the issue to the inside. He hangs it around the outside. Looks like Pinocchio might hold it as they head up into turn 3. But I think this is not the last we are going to be seeing of Simonek's fight for the lead. In fact, he stuck it back up the inside into turn 3. Not quite job done yet, though. Has to keep it so that Pinocchio has racing room there. And in doing so, surrenders the lead once again to Pinocchio, who has a great run through turn 4. Simonek looking to the inside of turn 5. Don't think that's going to happen. There's a little nudge.
Contact. Oh, no.
Ooh. And Newman got a piece of that as well. But I started to call it. I didn't think Simonek was going to have anything in turn 5, but he tried to stick the nose in anyway, and the result was some damage to both his and Ivan Pinocchio's car.
Yeah, I think we could see that coming, that Simonek was going to try and get down that inside, and Pinocchio didn't give him the room. He sort of like tried to slam the door shut, but unfortunately Simonek was alongside him, so therefore those two, so going from first to second to fourth to fifth at the moment with damaged cars. So their race is still not done, but it's going to be made a lot harder now with damage on the car. But as we see there, car 13, is that a lapped car?
That is Parmalee. Sorry.
No, that's Marquel. Is slowing down a lot.
He's got some front end damage as well, and I don't think that happened in that incident. So that must have happened later. Simonek has also dropped considerably. He's clearly got the worst of the damage from that incident, and I think Pete Newman has said thank you very much and taken that lead and run with it.
Yeah. So. I think Caleb's Hypes would be happy looking back at that, but obviously Simonek is probably furious in his rig at the moment. Looking at this, you know, second place, looking good for first or second, and obviously a racing incident, which obviously you do get in these cars, has taken him down. As we can see, his front bumper there literally hanging on by one side, and that's seriously going to be affecting his speed going down the straights. And I can only see him going down the order from now, considering where he's sat, Tyler.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and we know he's pretty quick, so he's going to hang on as best he can. I think his goal at this point is to make sure he's in the top 11 by the end of this race, which he should be all right doing. There's not a ton of cars closing in behind him. McClellan's going to have a look here into turn 10, and likely, nope, he's back behind as they head down the front straight. But I think you're right. I think Simonek can only really go backwards from here. He's in stark defense mode. Just trying to maintain any position he can. You can see how far down he is on top line speed. Mikel as well really seems to be struggling with his bumper damage in terms of top end speed. Now, if you want to be racing with this front group you see here, if you find yourself in races and you look at guys and you say, how can they go so fast? You might be interested in the Apex Racing Academy. The Apex Racing Academy offers 29 data packs with setups, track guide, and of course it's integrated with VRS, so you get that awesome VRS telemetry to help you assess your driving against the Apex Racing Academy coaches. Not only is it a great service, there you see Paul Joseph Kliss with the Apex Racing Academy livery on his Mazda. You're going to get some really great representation and really excellent coaches, some of the most talented drivers on iRacing. So if you are interested in improving your speed on iRacing, go check out the Apex Racing Academy weekly group coaching sessions, or just your usual data pack telemetry data. Go check it out and improve your driving.
Yeah, Tyler, I was just looking at the last lap times for Tom McQuell and Pavel Simonek, and they are 2.5 seconds slower than the rest of the field, so it's going to be a struggle to hold on to that top place. Oh, a big off there, Jay Walsh hitting into, I think that was Mark Wells.
That was Mikel, yes it was.
He's certainly been in the battles in this round, so currently in 11th place. And Hides, I was just looking there and I was thinking Hides wouldn't get in. So let's see a replay of what happened down here. So the side by side, trying to get all over the place into the first corner. Oh, and a big shunt there from. It wasn't from Mikel. Who was that from? That was.
It was from Walsh.
Walsh, yeah.
And Simonek was in there as well. It was really, you could see. Walsh was trying to find an avenue to run down with both Simonek and Mikel way down on top end speed, and he tried to send it up the inside, and clearly that wasn't happening. So he made contact with Mikel. Simonek was lucky actually to get through that without getting any more damage, and not only that, he's much more comfortably in that reverse grid position, sitting in 7th. And as you mentioned, look who that promotes to 11th place. It's Caleb Hides, who would be on the pole for race number 3 if things finish as they are.
Yeah, I was just looking at his time, and he was about 4 seconds behind 11th place position. But with that incident there, it's just promoted him to 11th place. So he's certainly profited out of that. And the same again coming down into turn one. This is a great corner for action. Cars 2x2, even 3x3 going into turn one, going in there. But we're on our last lap now. Newman's leading Pinocchio by 1.17 of a second, so really close racing for first and second. Oh, Newman's there. Oh no.
No, I think that was the damage on the left front of Newman was from the contact between Szymanek and Pinocchio. He just got a little piece of that, but he is comfortably in the lead of this race on the last lap. He can probably rest easy between now and the start-finish line. The battle is for second. Pinocchio trying desperately to hold off Franco here. As Hides has moved past Szymanek for 10th place. Szymanek will be desperately trying to hold on to that race 3 pole. But here is the battle as they head into the final corner. There's contact.
Oh no!
And Pinocchio is in the fence. Franco is out of the track. So Pinocchio and Franco, who were looking good for podium finishes, come together into the final corner. That will ensure that Szymanek is going to get a reverse grid position as Klist is off as well. Klist has made contact. Hides was off the track. Hides is sent flying by Doherty there, I believe.
Did he pass
it's
the
all
line?
happening at the last minute. I think Hides is not going to be able to cross the line. As now Klist has come back on track. That's Walsh who's run into him, and it's a mess on the front straight on the last lap here. This is just chaos.
Oh wow, that was a very interesting last corner there. So much action.
Yeah, we'll get a replay of what happened to Hyde. No, we don't have the replay, unfortunately, but there were a number of cars. It was, oh, here we go. It was Doherty and Hides who got together. So Doherty was trying to make the move on Klist and the session to switch. So we're not going to get to see it, but I can piece it together from what we know happened.
Well.
Klist spun off the nose of Doherty, I believe. Then Doherty and Hides came together. And that really shook things up. So we'll get the results for that race up in front of you in just a moment. And they are going to be a bit different from what we expected. So Pete Newman is your race winner. Second place is your AM class winner, Dan Parmalee. So craziness there. Ronald Moons comes home third. Damian McMullen in fourth. Philippe Lauer fifth. Paweł Szymanek in sixth. Darren Doherty came home in seventh. Tom McKell in eighth. Ismail Arafag in ninth. Wade Proctor 10th. Jay Walsh will be on pole for race number 3. Christian Schmitz, Rafael Franco, Ivan Pinocchio. These guys did not make it across the line. Paul Klist, Caleb Hides, Philip Senna, Andrew Brahma, and rounding out was Colin Sansom. We are ready to go for race number 3. Jay Walsh on the grid. Several cars did not make the grid, so not sure what happened there. I know previously we've had a warm-up before race number 3, so maybe some drivers caught off guard by that. But Walsh has broken away at the front. He's blinking a little bit to me. Mikkel and Szymanek battling over that second position as they head into turn number 1.
Walsh going a little bit wide there in turn 1, which has given an opening to Mikkel and Szymanek. So from the second race, Szymanek really profited from that last corner incidents overall. He was going down the field and somehow he managed to stick it in 6th place going into there. So I think he was absolutely fortunate. But that's put him in a really strong position. Oh, somebody off in the background as well.
Oh, that's McMullen. One of our AM and Newman, our race 2 winner. So one of our AM championship front runners and our race 2 winner are well, they sailed off the track, so they're going to reset to the pits, and that's going to be massively detrimental to their race 3 here today. That is Doherty, I believe, no, Parmalee, excuse me, getting contact with Hyde, and Schmitz is in there as well. Schmitz, I think, has got the worst of it, but Hides has some damage. Parmalee has some damage as well.
Yeah, a lot of incidences going on in these races. These tight tracks, they may be getting used to racing into these tight tracks again after having the first 2 rounds of the big open wide tracks with long straights. This is a tight one, and this round has been a war of attrition. You know, cars getting hit off at the last corner. I mean, that was absolute carnage into that last corner for the last race, which made it very difficult. But as we see here, Simonek taking the lead off Marquel quite easily going into turn 1. I'm surprised Marquel didn't defend a little bit harder. Maybe he just wants his slipstream going into, I think you've got Colin Sampson here in 10th place. He has gone up 9 places since the start of this race, so a great start to round 3 for Colin Sampson, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's an interesting point you bring up about the sort of chaos at the start. You look at somebody who is involved in that, like Caleb Hides. He obviously, I'm sure, feels he's out of position from where he should be. He was looking hopeful to start towards the front of this final race, and we know he has the pace to compete. So obviously him starting towards the back of the field, you feel like you need to make up positions as quickly as possible. And in reality, you do in these 15-minute races. So not sure, obviously, if Caleb was at fault. We didn't get a replay of that incident, I don't think. But regardless, he is trying to work his way forward and caught up in an incident that is going to set him back for sure. And Pavel Simonek, I'm sure, can't believe his luck. He finds himself in the lead of this race, and his 2 closest contenders on pace from this race meeting, Pete Newman and Caleb Hides, have already found trouble. So Pavel Simonek can not rest easy, of course. Mikkel and Lauer are no slouches, but we know Pavel has been a bit on that next level.
That was a free car. That was a free car going into turn 1 there, Tyler. It was going to be a bit of carnage going into turn 1, but they all kept it nice and clean. Pinocchio, like I said, will take that more aggressive line going into it, and he profits quite a lot from it, but sometimes he has caused incidents by doing that. But a very good driver to watch, and obviously he moves up now to 4th place. But Simonek definitely profiting from these 3 rounds, so winning race 1, getting 6th where he looked like he was going to struggle to get in the reverse grid from all the action that happened in the last corner. Get 6th in that, and he's looking quite strong now for getting the 1st place at the end. Like you said, his major rival in the championship, Caleb Hides, is currently sat in 13th place and didn't finish race number 2. So he's going to lose so many points on the championship to Simonek. So he'll be rubbing his hands in glee over this round, I think, Tyler.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, Andy. While you were mentioning that, we were watching, there it is again, Dan Parmalee, who has been, not to discredit him, because these cars can tend to be a bit all over the place, but he has been dipping wheels in the grass left and right, trying to work his way back forward. He was involved in that early incident with Caleb Hyde. We know Parmalee is quick. He's already got an AM class win today. Ooh, and that's a nudge from Paul Joseph Kliss there. So clearly those two battling fiercely. Parmalee just trying to make some of that ground back up. He actually sits on the final step of the AM class podium at the minute. 8th place overall, but 3rd in AM behind Darren Doherty and Jay Walsh, who started on pole for this race. Parmalee's done pretty well to maintain position with the sort of chaos that's been happening around him.
Yeah, even in the AM categories, you still get the same level of racing as you get in the pro categories, with wheel-to-wheel action, just fighting over any type of place. So, you know, no matter where you look in this field, you will always find a bumper to battle going on at any stage in this field, which is a really good thing about this league, is that the cars are so closely packed together, obviously being that fixed setup, and it makes for some brilliant racing as we've seen here tonight so far, guys.
And we ride on board now with Felipe Sen, who is working on Paul Joseph Kliss, who we've seen in quite a few battles so far today, and of course involved in that last lap skirmish in race number 2. Sen looks like he's going to get through here. He's got the inside line into turn number 1 and seems to have a straight line advantage over Paul. Takes the bit of a defensive line, but looks like he should be able to secure that position rather easily. Up ahead of him, his next target is Colin Sanson, who's done well. Started towards the back of this race, actually at the back of this race in 19. He's up now to 9th place, so 10 spots from the starting position is Colin Sanson. You mentioned him earlier on. He's done an excellent job.
Yeah, it looks like there's a bit of a gap developing at the front as well. First and second got a little bit of gap over third place, 3.64 seconds on the gap there. So the front two are starting to pull away from Lauer in third place. But as we see here, the battle for 10th. So we go to first place now. So Simonek, we've got Simonek, McQuell and Lauer to go. Oh, that's not Lauer, is it in third place? Yes, it is actually. It's fourth place. Even Pinocchio is 3.6 seconds back. So the first three are within a second of each other, just over a second. So some tight battling out front. But Simonek is seems to have the measure of this track, and obviously gaining some massive luck in race 2. But overall, has drived like a champion, to be fair.
Yeah, he has been stellar all season, you have to say. Obviously, the most consistent. We've documented Caleb Hyde's troubles in round 2, and obviously here today as well. Simonek has managed to make the most of his really one bad race, you have to say. Race number 2 here today was the only race we've really seen him have any trouble at all. If I'm not mistaken, it's the only race he's finished outside the top 2 so far this season. So clearly Pavel Simonek has a handle on this MX-5, not just around Summit Point, but around any track you throw at him. But it seems to be, at least in this race number 3, in a bit of a league of his own.
Yeah, I believe he was second overall in season 1 of the Mazda Cup. So obviously has history with being a fast driver, and is obviously still showing it here. He's obviously trying to break the toe to Mark Welsh again up, but he's starting to stretch out a little bit of a gap. But obviously that could be closed down going into turn 1 with the slipstream effect coming down this long start-finish straight. So I'd expect McQuell to start closing the back gap up slightly, but Simonek is weaving all over the place to try and not give him that slipstream effect, and being rather successful with it, to be fair.
We saw him employ that tactic to great effect in race number 1, racing against Caleb Hyde and Pete Newman. So clearly he knows how to do it. Not as much of a threat, you have to say, are Mikkel and Lauer. Both obviously quick, just to be able to keep up with Pavel Simonek shows how quick they are. Oh no, Colin Sanson, who we mentioned has been on having an excellent race, and moving forward finds himself off the track and dropped down into 12th position now. I didn't see much damage on his car, so perhaps his own mistake or some gentle contact that sent him wide, but definitely costly. He had been running in 9th, now finds himself a few places lower.
Yeah, he probably went into turn 1 too deep, went a bit wide, and obviously hit the grass on the outside, which spun the car around, which is very easy to do coming down that first corner if you miss your braking zone. So let's see if we've got the replay here. So coming down the first corner, so we do have a car on his tail coming to the outside. Yeah, he overbroke, yeah, so he tried to obviously cover that position inside, trying to take his normal braking line, broke too late, and slid across the course. So lucky not to catch the guy on the outside, really, I think, Tyler.
Yeah, I think so. He did a good job, honestly, of getting out of the way there. Here we see the battle for second and AM, the aforementioned Dan Parmalee, who's been doing a great job recovering from an early incident in this race, is having a bit of fun driving down the front stretch, I think, with Jay Wald. Trying to break the toe, and I guess the question is always, at what point does trying to break the toe become blocking? And I think they were walking that line pretty finely there, but I don't think it looked too unorthodox. Just a bit of, the draft is so effective in these cars. You do what you can to try and break it. And Parmalee has secured that 7th place and now sets his sights on Doherty in 6th.
Walsh went very deep into that corner, brake really late, took it out on the outside, and had Sen closed right up on his tail now. So it's a free car with Parmalee, Sen, and Parmalee, Walsh, and Sen. Yeah, so he went really deep into that, but it was like synchronized swerving down that first corner. It looked like on the stream.
We'll see if they do it again with Parmalee now firmly in front of Walsh. He's got more of a gap as they head down the straight this time. He's pretty wide in the final corner though, dipping his toes into the sand. I think Walsh though is more worried right now about Felipe Senna, who sticks his car down the inside towards turn number 1.
Yeah, he's in a great position to take this place if he can brake, put his brake on the moment. Oh, yeah, he gets it just right, takes it in, and Walsh had no option but to obviously give him that place. So a great pass there by Sen.
Yeah, now we mentioned Parmalee will be hunting down Doherty. He's got to close 5 seconds in 4 minutes if he wants to make that another AM class win happen. So not sure that's going to be the case for Parmalee, but you never know. Doherty could always run into some trouble. And he sits currently in 6th, about 2 seconds behind Rafael Franco in front of him, who is a little ways off of Ivan Pinocchio, who is some 5 seconds off of Lauer, Mikel, and Šimenek, the top 3.
Yeah, it was. It seems to be that Parmalee's braking really early for that corner, because Sen caught up a lot on him in turn 5 on that last one. So as we look here, we see Tom McQuell put Lauer behind him, but we got Šimenek still got that gap in front, so he's still keeping it to where he needs it to be. He's got 3.5 minutes left in this. 2.5 minutes left in this race. Probably about another 2 or 3 laps to hold on to that first place, but Lauer is obviously trying his best to get Marquel, and Marquel is probably more looking now in his rear view mirror rather than trying to chase down Šimenek. He needs to secure that second place with Lauer behind him breathing down his neck quite heavily.
Absolutely, it should be 2 more laps for these race leaders. You figure, of course, Mikel and Lauer being teammates, I'd imagine they're in communication right now, which does make that a little easier. But obviously, you're fighting for every position you can get, even if it's with your teammates. So I'm sure we'll see that going at it before the race is over. This battle is not over, however. Senna trying to improve his position around the outside of Parmalee in turn 4, sets up the pass nicely in turn 5, and that's how you do it. We've mentioned that corner's been a trouble spot all day, but those two executing it nicely.
I think he must have been listening on the stream where I said that Dan Parmalee was braking a little bit too early, because he actually overtook him before the corner where I thought he was going to get him on the corner. So Dan Parmalee's obviously braking marker must be a little bit back from where Walsh's Sen's braking area is going into that corner. So down to the final lap here. Šimenek's obviously got a little bit more of a gap over Marquel, so it's in his hands to lose it. But Marquel's got Lara right on his tail now, so he just needs to be cautious and just make sure he hits his apex on this last lap to secure second place. And I would say it was a done deal, but after seeing that second race, Tyler, you know, I'm not going to take anything for granted in this session.
No, you never know. that last turn can be pretty crazy. Here we see Klist battling with Sansom. Oh, there's contact there. Oh no, and Klist backs right back into Andrew Brahma. Hides is the next car on track. We'll see if he's able to get past these two. Here's that battle for 7th. Parmalee is back ahead of Senna. I didn't see that happen. You might have. I was looking off somewhere else. But this battle is not over for sure on the final lap here for 7th place.
Yeah, that was bad luck for Andrew Brahms. Obviously got taken out, unfortunately. But as we see here, Šimenek going over the line to take his first place of the session. So we had a first, 6th, and a first with McQuell, Lara, and Pinocchio should get 4th place. Yes, he comes across the line now. Franco, Doherty, and we'll see if Parmalee can hold on to 7th place, 2nd place in the AM. Oh, close up to the line, but I think he's going to get it done with Sen, Walsh in 8th and 9th going over there. So, you know, really good 3-round battles going on there, Tyler, with a lot going on this track.
Absolutely. Sansom and Klist have both managed to stay ahead of Hides. Brahma had too much damage, unfortunately. He's had to reset to the pit lane. Here's the battle between Moons and Arafag for 13th overall. And ooh, it's a good run out of the corner for Moons. This might not be over, but he does have some ground to make up. Gets as much of that toe as he can. They're headed to the line. I think that's the line there. Indeed it is. And RFI will finish ahead of Moons. As we wait for the results, just want to give a shout out to those of you who have subscribed to us today on YouTube. Zach Bloxia, thank you so much. As well as Ivan Provenzi, thank you so much for subscribing to Apex Racing TV. And we hope to see you at some more of our races in the future. There are your results for race number 3. Paul Szymanek, with his second win of the day, likely extends his championship lead here with the race 3 win. Tom McKell brings it home second for Low Grip Racing. Philip Lauer, his teammate at Low Grip Racing, comes home in third. Ivan Pinocchio finishes fourth with Rafael Franco behind him in fifth. Darren Doherty, your lead AM class driver, brings it home in 6th place ahead of Dan Parmalee, also an AM class driver, in 7th. Philippe Senna, who we saw in that great battle there with Dan Parmalee, he brings it home in 8th ahead of Jay Walsh. Colin Sansom comes home in 10th, Paul Joseph Kliss in 11th. Caleb Hides is 12th, Ismail Arafag in 13th. Ronald Moons comes home 14th, wasn't quite able to finish the pass on Arafag before the line. Pete Newman, unfortunate for the race 2 winner, did not have a good race number 3. He comes home in 15th. Behind them, it was Andrew Brunner, Wade Proctor, and Christian Schmitz. We are going to send you to a brief ad break before we come back with our driver interviews, but we will see you on the other side with some drivers from today's racing.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Apex Racing TV. So what we've seen there in this Mazda Cup is the 3 rounds and round 3 of Summit Point, and well, to be fair, what an action-packed 3 rounds we've been treated to. So lots of incidents, especially in round 2 of that. So without further ado, we'll move over to the interview and we'll get Dan Parmalee into the interview room to have a chat with him. Hello, Dan. Welcome to the commentary room. Can you hear us?
I got you, Andrew.
Well, what can I say? I'm actually just calming down now from all the incidents that happened in that race. How was that race for you?
Oh man, race 3 was wild. I thought the first 2 races had a good bit of action. Race 3 was something else. That I can't remember how many did we invert there. We inverted, most of the top 10. It felt like for that third race too, and it just really stacked everyone up with some of those other AM class guys up towards the front. And man, I got punted in the back. I think the going into the carousel like 2 times, and going into turn 1, I got punted once. Man, it was a slugfest out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, your first round, as you said, you were a bit disappointed in that. You obviously got a few incidents in that. Round 2 was a really good round for you, and it seems like this has been a good round for yourself as well. Obviously, you are now getting to grips with the car. How are you feeling about your prospects for the championship?
Well, I don't know if you can hear in my voice, but I came down with a cold last week, so I didn't touch the car at all until today. I didn't do any iRacing after last Wednesday, and I didn't realize they changed the gearbox on this car. So that took a little bit getting used to in that the 30 minutes I had to practice leading up to the race. But with the time I had in the car last season with the ARL Mazda Cup, that was awesome. And then this season, I feel like I'm really starting to really get a knack for the car. But now that it has this sequential gearbox, I got to work on those standing starts. That first gear is quite a bit different now.
Yeah, completely different car, obviously, for the new season of iRacing, following the natural car. Obviously, the main protagonist that you were looking around in your championship seemed to suffer in that round. So the AM Championship's wide open, and you certainly haven't done your chances any harm going with the results you've had today.
Definitely. I think I was just a few points behind Damien coming into Summit Point, so I think I managed to finish ahead of him in all of those rounds, I think. So probably get the points lead out of this, so just looking to keep it consistent when we go to Brazil, and curious to see what these last 4 rounds are going to bring after Brazil. Can't wait to see when the schedule comes out for that.
Yeah. So obviously looking at, we had the first 2 rounds that were wide open tracks, and then we've come to this. How has it been adjusting to the first couple of rounds, which you had lots of spaces to pass, to getting back into where the Mazda realms are in these short, tight, twisty tracks?
I definitely had to train myself to be a lot smoother. I feel like at a place like Summit Point, and even when we go to Interlagos, you can really just throw the car around, where when we were at Road America, you got to make sure you really keep your momentum up to carry any speed down the straightaway. So it's nice getting back to these short tracks. It's definitely where the car feels right at home. You can really throw it around and have a lot of fun with it, and have a lot of fun with the competitors.
Okay, well, I mean, great round 2, great round 3 for you, Dan. So all good luck for the rest of the rounds, and obviously Interlagos, the next track up. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'll give a shout out to my dad today. It's his birthday, so be jumping in the car here, head down to see him, and wish him a happy birthday here in just a little bit. So thanks again for all that you do, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, that's Dan Parmalee, and happy birthday, Mr. Parmalee Senior. So over to you, Tyler. Who would you like to bring into the commentary area for the next interview?
Yeah, I am going to grab our race 3 winner tonight in AM, that is. Darren Doherty, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, guys. Yourselves?
Yeah, we are. I think our heart rates are still recovering from calling the action in those 3 races. A bit of an up and down day for you, I think it's fair to say. A lap 1 incident in race 1, if I'm not mistaken, and then a last lap incident in race 2. But you recovered strongly for race number 3.
Yeah, I think it's about first couple of corners is always about trying to get away clean. I think once you do that, you sort of can set the race pace. But the first corner, I don't know who it was, broke in front of me. I've turned right to avoid getting in the back of him, and then I think it was Hayes behind me. I've obviously come out in front of him. He's clipped me. I've spun around and then hit him again. So apologies to him for that. But I said, yeah, race 3 was far better. A few accidents in front of me. I managed to get through that, and then I think after that it was just the pace. I was never so glad to see the checkered flag, because I know Daniel was coming from behind. He was catching me about a second a lap, so the checkered flag couldn't come soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a fierce competition out there, both in Pro and in AM, and as we've mentioned a couple times, quite different from the first couple of rounds. So Do you feel that the track here at Summit Point suits you better in these cars than the first couple rounds we saw Watkins Glen and Road America, or are you just happy to take this MX-5 anywhere it goes?
Well, obviously pretty new to that, so the tracks are pretty new to me doing them. But yes, definitely this track, and I think Watkins Road America, I found it. I think in a race 2 winning it. So yes, this track I really did like this track, but the problem is there's a short run down to the first corner. I think that proves difficult for most people. But again, I'll take it. I look forward to the next race into August and the fight with Daniel. Well, Damien's probably my fight. I think Daniel's got good pace, but me and Damien have a good fight and a bit of respect for each other on the track. So once we get close to each other, we tend to switch back and forth.
Certainly, you know exactly where my questions are going, because I was about to mention the championship and the next round at Interlagos. So you said you're not super familiar with these first few tracks, but is Interlagos one you're more familiar with? And obviously, you just mentioned you think Daniel is your target in the championship. Do you think that first overall spot in AM is out of reach, or are you still gunning for it?
No, I'll keep going. I'll keep driving for it. Obviously, with myself and Damien, I think there's not much between us. Again, it's all about being able to get through these first couple of corners and then setting the pace on the track. I'm struggling to read the cars in front of me, so I need to get around that bit. But I think I've got the pace to be up there at the top. But again, it's just about being consistent. There's no point in being quick if you can't do it over the course of the race and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I think staying out of trouble is the name of the game today, and certainly in race number 3 you did a very good job of it, Darren. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
No, guys, good job you're doing here, and my teammate Wade, has struggled, badly burnt on the back, so he's using that as an excuse tonight. But yeah, maybe next week he can show us what he is capable of doing. But again, thanks guys, it's great race he's put on, great league.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for joining us in the booth there, Darren. And
all right.
Congratulations again on your race 3 win. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks Taylor, thanks Andrew.
Let's go. Okay, that was obviously Darren there. We can get Damien in now, so let's get Damien in and find his thoughts, which might be a bit thingy. Hi Damien, welcome to the commentary booth. Can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hi Damien. So, what are your thoughts on that round?
Okay, race 1 and race 2, it was really good racing and I was really enjoying it. And then race 3, it just went, game over, into the netcode of that track, and it was kind of game. But I said, I'm not going to rage quit, just keep going. But race 1 and 2, it was good battles all around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you had really strong round 1 and 2. Obviously, put you into the top of the space for the AM class. Obviously, after this round, it's going to be a bit of a mix-up, but you're still going to be in the mix for it. We've got Interlagos next. How are you feeling for that track?
Bit anxious, but as I say, Brazil, you're going to be great racing there as well. And with the Senna S's, you don't know what can happen. There might be a Mazda rolling or be carnage, but we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think the main thing of these races is try and keep out of trouble and keep it clean. Obviously, you got hit there in the third race, which obviously put paid to your results there. How hard is it going into that first lap?
It's very anxious because your tires are a bit cold. You don't know what's going to happen, and when you have your crew chief in your ear saying "all clear," then all of a sudden you just get a lovely little tap, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gone." Onto the grass, and when you're on the grass, it's like just being on ice.
Yeah, definitely. We saw a lot in that race. Cars obviously up the front make one little mistake and all of a sudden lose five or six places in that. But have you got any sort of final thoughts for this round? Is this obviously not been one of your best rounds, but I suppose you could take some positives away from it?
Yeah, the positive I could take is I got good points, and I'm just saying to Darren and Daniel that the championship is still to go, and I can't wait to see what the results are going to be.
Yeah, definitely. I bet you missed having Darren right on your tail like you normally had in the first 2 rounds.
I do. I'm just saying to Darren, Darren says, "Do you think we're brothers?" And I was like, "Brilliant."
For sure. Okay, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go there,
I
Damien?
just wanted to say thank you to my sponsors and to my family, and special thanks to my dad for helping me out purchasing my new rig that I have to get built by next week. So, thanks, Dad.
Okay, both yourself and Darren, obviously, pay respects to your dad there. So thank you very much for joining us, Damien.
Perfect. Thank.
Well, obviously, big dad lovers there. Obviously, Damien and Darren, but the two Irish guys.
Yes,
So-
and great
Sorry.
great to hear from. No worries, Andy. Great to hear from a couple of the AM class drivers from the series, and really the AM class championship is shaping up to be fantastic. I have to say those are probably the three main players that we're going to see as the season continues on. And with that in mind, Andrew, any final thoughts from you on this round today and the championship outlook moving forward?
I think obviously this round was a big shake-up for the guys. There was a lot of incidences certainly in that second race on that last corner. You know, these tight circuits, and I think that's what the guys have got to get in their mindset is the differences of tracks. They go from week to week. So one week it'll be a fast track where there's wide open spaces, and then another week, like we had here today, we've got a tight track where limited spaces, and you've got to watch your speed going into corners. So, but a real mix-up, and obviously Palex Simonek, obviously Pavel extending that lead in that AM, so he's got sort of a commanding lead going into the next round, and it's all down to Caleb Hibes now. But certainly in the AM category, it's all mixed up today, and it is going to make for a very interesting season. I can't wait to obviously be here and commentate with either yourself or back with Sam.
Absolutely, it is shaping up to be a really excellent season, and we have a lot of really excellent racing coming your way on Apex Racing TV. Tonight, if you're in the States like me, or tomorrow morning if you are across the pond like my friends on the broadcast here, we've got the Rikmatech Sports Car Series Round 8 at Road Atlanta. That is going to be excellent. The GT4 cars and the TCR cars go great around that track. They're an absolute blast, and I'm certain they're going to put on a great race, as our friends with the Rikmatech series always do. That is at 12 a.m. UTC. So whatever your local time conversion is, you can work off that. And again, that is coming up tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on your location. Also tomorrow, at 7 p.m. UTC, is the Apex Racing League GT Trophy. That'll be the GT3 cars around Watkins Glen, a track we certainly know from this series. An excellent racetrack. I'm sure we're going to get some great racing there. Did a GT Trophy race not too long ago and had an absolute blast. Those guys put on a show for sure, and Watkins Glen is always good for racing. After that, another late night race in the US, or early morning race for our friends in Europe or elsewhere. 1 a.m. UTC on the 16th is the Ray Esports Racing League Round 9. That is also going to be at Watkins Glen. So lots of Watkins Glen action for you this week. Be sure to check that out. After that, it's another Apex Racing Academy League. We've got the Porsche Cup Championship Round 6 at the Nordschleife. I don't think that there is a more classic combination than the Porsche Cup cars and the Nordschleife. That is going to be fantastic for sure. You can catch that on June 16th at 7 p.m. UTC. A couple days later, we've got the Wave Italy ARL Prototype Championship, Round 8 at, you guessed it, Watkins Glen. We got a lot of Watkins Glen coming up for you this week. The prototypes will be taking to the Classic New York Circuit at 7 p.m. UTC on June the 18th. Be sure to check that one out. The prototypes always put on a good show. After that, it's the Apex Racing Academy F3 VRS Super Series, Round 9 at Phillip Island, a track near and dear to my heart. Lots of fun around there, and I'm sure the F3 cars are going to go well there. That is also at 7 p.m. on Saturday, June the 19th, UTC, of course. And then we're back with the ARL Mazda Cup. I will not be here, but you'll be back with the ever cheery Sam Fitzpatrick. And of course, Andy and Sam Kumo bringing you the broadcast from Interlagos. You've heard the drivers mention it. It'll be a great course. Lots of drafting as usual in these Mazdas, and for sure, they are going to put on a great show around there. And while I will not be on the broadcast, I'm sure I will be tuning in to catch the action. That's at the same time as this broadcast today, 7 p.m. UTC, next Monday, June 21st. And where can you catch all that? Well, anywhere where your internet videos are generally consumed. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/ApexRacingTV. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ApexRacingTV. And I missed a shout out. Thank you, Ingram, for subscribing, or rather following us on Twitch. And if you want to join in that, you can find us on twitch.tv/ApexRacingTV. We are also on all of your favorite social media platforms. That is Facebook, that is Instagram, that is Twitter. All of the above, wherever you like to follow us, just look for Apex Racing TV. For everyone here, really enjoyed stepping in for Sam today. Had a really fantastic broadcast on our hands. Thanks so much to Andy, who always does a great job on these. And of course, Sam doing the hard work. We just get to talk for a couple hours, but Sam has to run all the camera, run all the production stuff. He's the reason the show is in front of you tonight. So thank you so much to Sam Kumo for bringing that broadcast to you as well. And from all of us here at Apex Racing TV, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. there needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.